At dusk, the sky assumes the color of the nacre inside a conch shell, and the inky silhouettes of the eucalyptus, standing in a ragged line following the course of the railroad tracks, are blurred, indistinct like a watercolor blotted by some divine hand. Light spills out from the cafe par and lingers in a haze of cigarette smoke, yellow light from the 50-watt incandescent bulbs which line the ceiling, and flickering blue-white light from the single small black and white television mounted on a table opposite the open door. And from what I can see, it appears to be playing an Egyptian novella, but nobody seems to pay it any mind. Farmhands, shepherds, and local merchants are seated around each of the 6 plastic tables playing a kinetic card game where the player with the winning hand slaps his cards on the table and shouts "Scuba," much to the consternation of his opponents. Arguments erupt and tempers flare, but like a thunderclap from a midsummer storm, they dissipate rapidly and the game resumes. A monochromatic poster of Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman is taped to the whitewashed wall behind the television, sandwiched between a color poster of James Brown holding a microphone stand and another of an Egyptian actor in a boxing pose. Handsome Tar arrives on his Motobecon moped, adjusts the smart French Foreign Legion cap he purchased at the souk last Saturday, flashes me a toothy grin and waves and enters the cafe to be greeted by a chorus of Salem. Shlubba, the old man wearing baggy trousers over brown plastic sandals, passes me riding his donkey, his mandala, straw hat, bobbing in rhythm with the beast's uneven gait. His hands are like gnarled roots, his grin entirely toothless, and he gives me a nod. "Monsieur Carlo," he says, acknowledging me. As he passes, I imagine I hear the muffled clink of bottle hitting bottle from the satchel around the donkey's neck. Yellow light also spills from the open doorway of Lewini's general store next to the cafe, where the corpulent Hassan Lewini rests his elbows on the counter and waits for his next customer. He stands as I enter and greets me with a smile. "Salam alik ya Monsieur Carlo, shno hawalik." I am fine, I reply in Arabic, and your family, they are good too. What can I get for you? Would you like a can of green peas? When Mr. Lewini laughs, his eyes are small and dark like 2 raisins in the center of an unbaked loaf of khubz tabuna, and his belly quivers underneath his blue jabella. "Why, yes, please fetch me a can of your finest green, please," I reply with a flourish, and then I laugh, and a bottle of whiskey. When I first arrived in Shawat, my Arabic vocabulary was minimal, but I knew how to say eggs and green peas, so I spent several weeks eating just those 2 consumables, and the villagers concluded that peas and eggs must be staples of the American diet. "Tis, tis, tis," he clucks. "You know I do not have whiskey." We laugh together. Like the cafe, the store is a one-room edifice constructed of cinder blocks. Signs advertising Coca-Cola in Arabic script, Fanta, Cidre, Chocoton cookies adorn the outside walls on either side of the sky blue door, which, more often than not, is held in the open position by a rock. From behind the service counter, one can easily view the entire contents of the shop. Canned vegetables, the aforementioned sodas, cookies, bread, eggs, and dairy, as well as hand tools, various pharmaceuticals, pencils, paper, Le Temps de Tunis newspaper, both French and Arabic editions, thong sandals, sunglasses, but no alcohol. Between Mr. Lewini and me is an understanding that, in the Islamic faith, the consumption of alcohol is haram, forbidden, so my request for whiskey is all in jest. A pair of barefoot boys enter the shop. "Monsieur," the taller of the 2 addresses me. "Avez-vous de monnaie pour des bonbons?" "Barimshi," growls the shopkeeper. "Get out." The boys beat a hasty retreat. It is fully dark when I bid farewell to Mr. Lewini and exit his shop. The cool night air is scented with a sweet aroma of freshly cut alfalfa and the earthly odor of silage and manure, and I hear, faintly, the wail of Arabic music from the cafe's television. Turning right, I walk the length of Avenue Habib Bourguiba toward a group of men gathered around a rough-hewn table set between 2 eucalyptus and illuminated from above by a string of bare light bulbs strung between the trees. Upon the table are piled a variety of fruits and vegetables, with more in the crates below. 2 of the men are arguing. Their voices are loud and bellicose, but I understand only snips of their discussion as they're speaking in rapid outbursts. "But you weren't even there. You missed Father's reading in the mosque." Noticing my approach, they grow quiet. "Salam alaikum," I greet them. Salam alik, they replied in unison, their voices sullen, almost contrite. Behind the table, Mr. Hashmi, the greengrocer, a man about my father's age or perhaps a bit older, is seated on an overturned milk bucket. He is wearing a cream white jabala robe and a shashia, the traditional red skull cap, and in spite of his humble seat, he sits erect, his arms akimbo in a posture of inscrutable dignity. Yet the eyes in his wizened brown face are gentle, benevolent. He is flanked by his three sons, Mohammed, Hassan, and Mohsen, all of whom remain standing. The eldest, Mohammed, glares at the youngest, Mohsen, who crosses his arms defiantly, and Mohammed reaches into the pocket of his Levi's for his lighter. Assalamu ya Sabi, the old man greets me. Hello, friend. Assalamu ya Baba, I reply respectfully, bowing slightly and covering my heart with my right hand as though I were addressing a priest. Hello, father. How is your family? They are fine, I reply. What may I get you, he asks. I would like 2 artichokes and artichokes, Mr. Hashmi interrupts. You don't want artichokes. That's charity food for the poor. But you sell them? Yes, he explains. The poor people gather them on the hill as they graze the sheep, and I give them a few malims for a basketful, but only poor people eat them. You don't want to eat artichokes. But in America, wealthy people pay real money, dinars, for artichokes, I exclaimed. How much for 2? Bah, he replies dismissively. Just take them. Thank you. Then how about a rotol of beans, 1 pomegranate, and 2 quince? Mr. Hashmi fetches my order from the collection of fruit plates under the table. The golden quince are mottled with dark spots, an indication they weren't treated for worms. DDT is still legal here, so I will eat around the dark spots. That's 2 dinar, 100 malims. I place 2 notes and a coin in his weathered palm, and he nods a thank you. You know, the grocer says, I worked for the Americans during the big war. They were fighting the Germans over there in Kasserine. Really? My father fought in the war too. He was also a soldier. Oh, I wasn't a soldier, Mr. Hasmi explains. I worked in the food store, and I remember how to speak American. 2 plums, 50 cents, he shouts in English. What does that mean? Asks Hassan, and I translate, much to the old man's satisfaction. Son of a bitch, damn it all, Mr. Hashmi continues. What does that mean? He asks eagerly. I hesitate, looking from Mohammed to Hassan to Mohsen, who appears quite intrigued. Mr. Hashmi is a proud, self-educated man who reads the Quran in the mosque. And in the many months that I've known him, I've never heard him curse, except for now. Oh, there's no translation, I lied. There actually is a direct translation. It's just an expression, no meaning. Come on, Hassan demands. What does it really mean? I sigh. It's a curse word, I reply. The 2 younger brothers burst into laughter, much to the chagrin of Mohammed and his father.